Hi there! This little video is my Christmas treat for you guys who are in my newsletter list or part of my newsletter network. I'm not going to share it with anybody else. However, you're welcome to share it with anyone that you feel might also benefit from this video or who might enjoy it. So feel free to share it with those you love or those you like. And I'm just sharing it with you guys. So what is this video going to be? Well, I know you're all very different, first of all, and therefore I'm doing a little bit of a mixture here, something quite basic that I hope most of you will find something in that will be helpful for you or enjoyable for you over these Christmas holidays, winter holidays. So first of all, I want to share some very simple little exercises with you that you can pretty much do anywhere, and they just might help you what I call regulate your nervous system. So that means, as most of us, if you're finding yourself a bit on a roller coaster or the Corona coaster as they call it, I think, and you're dealing with the stress and maybe a bit of anxiety, or you're exhausted, or you're irritable, and you're up and down, a bit depressed and then in rage, or I don't know, or just in pain as well. There are some very simple little exercises that actually are really powerful if you give yourself the permission to slow down and do them. And then of course I also want to go through some movements that might help you feel a bit more mobile, more relaxed in your body, sort of taking care of the stiffnesses and aches and pains a bit, and also letting you feel your strength. So while you might not be doing as much exercise as normally, I don't know, there'll be something in here that where you can kind of feel that you're maintaining your strength a bit as well. So that's the plan. And we're going to start just here by noticing really where we are. So I'm here, I'm in my studio, I'm also in the video, I'm aware. But where are you? I have no idea. So have a look around, and you might be somewhere in your home that's very familiar, very much your space, or you might be somewhere else. And wherever you are, take a moment to just kind of check, where am I in the world right now? Where's my body? And how is my body in terms of, are you sitting like I am on the floor? For the exercises later, of course, you might want a mat down or something like that, or even just a fluffy carpet. Or you might be sitting on a sofa, which is also fine for the moment. So check, what position did you end up in for this, for this moment? Oh, interesting. And where in the world are you? What's around you? As you're looking around, really take your time. It's a very simple thing, and it may seem like, well, it's obvious. But your nervous system on the inside, that sort of animal inside, doesn't really know and understand all the details of what we're seeing and what's going on and what this is. So allow, through your eyes, through your ears even, through your senses, to really take in your surroundings. Letting your eyes linger on something pleasant. And letting yourself feel this space and time, space in your environment. And it might be that you're looking out the window as well. So just start focusing a little bit more, lingering a little bit more on the sights that have a pleasant resonance for you. So that could be looking out the window into the sky or the trees, or maybe there's something here in this room that you're in, like a photograph or a picture on the wall, or a plant or a pet that has a very simple, nice resonance. So stay with that. It might be one thing that you're really sort of engaging with, or maybe it changes. Just give that a few seconds to kind of connect with the inside of you, because I'm wondering, how do you know that it's pleasant to look at whatever it is you're lingering on? And you might go, well, is the view out the window. Of course, you know, it's nice to see trees, it's nice to see sky, it's helpful. Yeah, and it's there, you can have it. It's very easy to look at it, and it does have an effect. So what is it that you're sensing that is pleasant? What is that in your body that lets you know it's kind of nice? And it might be hard to describe, or sometimes even to sense, to kind of pinpoint. You just know, but how do you know? So that's the meaty bit where you get into a bit more depth. How would you describe the sensation of pleasant, if it is there, or a little bit more pleasant if it's not fully pleasant? So it might be a difference in your breath, maybe the sort of texture of your skin changes a little, maybe your breath changes, or something softens. And that's always there. So that's something so simple that you have any time you feel yourself kind of spiraling a bit out of control. But then let's leave that pleasant connection, pleasant object view where it is. We've got it there anytime, and start zoning in a little bit more. What else do you feel that might be more obvious than the subtle pleasantness? So what about making the contact that you're making with the ground? So if you're sitting like me, you might feel it very much sort of through each pelvic half, through one sitting bone and the other, and you can test it out a little bit, shifting, feeling that connection. Or if you're sitting on a chair, you might have your feet on the ground and you might feel your feet more. You could press through a foot or the other. So it depends a bit on how you're sitting, and it depends a bit on you as an individual. But you'll be making contact with the ground in some shape or form. Contact with gravity, really. So can you feel how gravity is holding you safely to the ground, connected to the ground? It's also supportive. It gives us something to move against, which makes moving a lot easier than if we were in space, even though it can sometimes feel a bit of a struggle. So maybe you can say to yourself, the floor is supporting me. I am connected to the floor. You can say this in your head if it feels a bit silly. And notice what, again, your physical resonance is to saying that to yourself, to changing your relationship or your view that you have of the floor. And then so I'm finding myself rocking a little bit to kind of negotiate and explore this connection, the ground a bit. So find a bit more uprightness, and that doesn't mean you have to sit really tall, just kind of where you feel like your spine is balancing on top of your pelvis. And bring your arms down. So if you're on a sofa, you have your hands down on the sofa next to your pelvis, or on the ground, your hands are on the ground. And your right hand's gonna reach out and over, and you're just gonna take this big reach over to the left. Your left hand can support you, but let the shoulder just kind of drop a little bit away. Take a breath here and then push away from the floor with that left hand to go over to the other side. So now the right hand's on the ground, the left arm's reaching over, and to come back, push off the floor with that left hand a little, and you keep windmilling side to side. Make sure you don't go too fast, because this is not about getting, 100 repetitions over with quickly and ticking the box. This is really about indulging in opening up your rib cage, your ribs to one side. You can breathe into that a little. It's about letting your spine move. And you may still feel that you're shifting your weight, so here, and dropping into my right sitting bone a bit more, and then into my left as I go over. So my whole kind of body takes part to a subtle degree. And if you're noticing any discomforts, of course, I don't know what you're dealing with at the moment, so you may have to be a bit careful. I wouldn't want you to push through any pain or do anything that aggravates or risks anything. Yeah, so If you're dealing with anything physical that's causing you pain or is contraindicating movements, you can make this movement a lot smaller. It's always a good idea. It doesn't mean necessarily you can't do it, unless you've been told that you shouldn't. But even just making the movement a lot smaller in a range that feels safe and feels comfortable is just fine. It doesn't always have to be the biggest way. You're moving within your safe range, and then you can always increase the range. And if you're just not sure about it, just imagine doing the movement. Again, it's like a bit like, well, that doesn't do anything. Well, it actually does. If you're imagining doing the movement, part of your body, part of your brain is engaged in the movement. And some athletes actually use that as a form of meditation to prepare and practice. So, you know, there's something in that. And then let the arms come back down to either side. And just notice your breath for a moment after these movements. How you now kind of finding your center between those two side bends. How you're meeting the ground now. What is a little different. And as you move, just acknowledge that your shoulders are allowed to be wherever they want to be. It's a bit controversial, that. Most of us carry our stress in our shoulders, and they're sort of up here most of the time, and we go, no, come down, the shoulders come down. And it's fine, but sometimes it might be a lot more powerful to go, these poor shoulders take on a lot of responsibility. And yes, sometimes they get stuck in places. So as you breathe, allow them to go up there where they seem to want to go all the time. Just allow them with your approval. And then after a moment, say, that's enough now. And just see where they can go on their own from there. Acknowledge that if you're breathing healthily, the shoulders have to get out the way a bit. They have to move. They have to get up. But we also want them to come down. Yeah. And then let's get down to the ground. So let's have a lie down on our back. And again, if any of these movements don't feel right to you, you're the expert of you. I don't necessarily know you and what you're dealing with. So this is just a suggestion. Again, you can make it smaller, you can imagine the movement, all sorts of things. Take your arms a little bit wider with the palms down, feet are standing. Bring your feet and your knees close together so they're touching together. And just take a moment to let your body arrive in this position. So we know we just lay down, but does your body know it? Can you feel the contact with the ground that you're making now? Give yourself a moment. How nice is it to just lie down and not have to do anything at all? And then with your legs sort of a little stuck together, let your knees roll a little to the right and a little to the left. It's a bit like a pendulating, left and right. And then let your head join in, like the opposite end of that pendulum. As your knees go right, your head rolls a little left. And as you do that, you might be sort of letting your eyes track along the ceiling or anything else that you're seeing. Let your eyes wander around a bit overhead along the walls. Maybe you can still see those pleasant objects, views. And just check it out. If this movement feels comfortable, maybe next time you go to the right, you continue and let your legs just drop. And then just let yourself be, again, supported by the floor. Don't be too critical of your position or posture. Don't adjust it necessarily. Just settle into it a moment and notice what you notice. There might be some tightness, some stretch. Maybe your breath feels like it's sort of expanding in different spaces now in your body, which might be quite nice. So as you're breathing in, feel that, and then also give yourself time for your whole out breath. And notice the pause between the out breath and the in breath. There's no rush to breathe in. It will just happen on its own. And really cherish that moment where not much happens, not even breath, everything's good. And then roll your legs back over to the other side. This side is a different side, so it might be different, it might feel different. Go there slowly, let the legs drop, let your head roll the opposite way, and breathe and let it go a little, if you can. You okay? Drop into the ground. Breathe and lengthen your out breath a bit more. And come back again to the middle. You could repeat this again, you know, you don't have to move on. You could give yourself more time with it and enjoy it. Otherwise, let's move on to bringing the feet and knees a bit more hip width or a bit wider even, where you feel comfortable. So give yourself space and allow yourself to let your body tell you where the right position is for you today. And then your heels might come quite close to your hips, not all the way tucked in, but you know, as close as they can comfortably go. And then stand into your feet and feel the pelvis lift off the ground, getting a little suspended. And just come up to a place slowly that still feels like the muscles don't have to do it. Where you just can stand on your legs and the rest of you is a bit like a hammock or a blanket, getting pulled away from the head slightly over the legs, over the feet. And then place your pelvis down again gradually, and it might feel like you're coming down a little closer to your heels now. Do that again, just testing out the sort of beginning of this movement, a bit like when you went side to side. You will feel a bit of a barrier or a resistance to go further up where you would need more muscle to get there, and we'll get there. But just give yourself a bit of time to explore the easy range. Acknowledging that it can be easy, and it might not look like my range, your range might be different. Go with feeling, you don't have to watch me even. Go slowly. And as you're moving in this easy range, there's also again a change in gravity. Really allow those shoulders and the breastbone and the upper back to drop into the ground with the head, with your feet. That can really stand into the ground, pour into the ground, reach a little through your knees to pull yourself a bit away from the head end, to lengthen the spine, to place it down a little bit longer, a bit puffed up in between the vertebrae. And then if you like, next time you sort of meet that resistance, stay there a moment and just breathe and remember a time relatively recently where you felt really capable and strong and competent and calm and sure. You know, where you felt your inner strength. Maybe it was when you were doing an exercise that, you know, you've previously found challenging and then all of a sudden you managed and it wasn't that hard. Or it could be in any other context. Maybe it was in an argument with someone, in a discussion with someone, you really made your point and they heard you and agreed with you or took that on board. Or you stood up for yourself in an argument. Or you achieved something, you reached a goal. Might be just a little thing, making the right decision, being strong about something, feeling your competence, your inner strength, and then move that little bit higher. You can always come down in between and just move into the muscle. And that I mean, feel as the pelvis comes higher and you're opening up your front,
where you feel the back of the legs, the glutes and the back of the pelvis, the muscles that are competent in doing that job to lift you up a little higher. And now your arms could go somewhere else. You could take them overhead if that feels comfortable, or leave them where they are. Come down if you need to. You don't want to get it into a challenge, but just feeling your strength, and take your break when you need it. Release at a moment, and then, you know, trusting that you have that inner strength to go there again and hold it and feel it and breathe into it. Feeling the muscles be competent, doing their job. Yes, it takes some effort. Yes, there's energy. Yes, we can't hold it forever, but we've got it. We've got it. We can do this. Yeah. What did it feel like? Whatever memory comes to you from the description I made, what did you see? Where were you? Who else was there? What did you hear? And how did that feel? How did it feel in your body to be strong, to achieve, to be right? How would you describe that to someone on a physical level? And then come down again. And just take a moment feeling that energy disperse, that effort, the achievement, just feeling in your body that you've just done something. What is it that you feel? And how is that releasing now? And then maybe if you have the space and it feels nice, just stretch yourself out a moment, reaching through arms and legs in a self-indulgent and instinctive way. Taking your breath where you need to. Big stretch like you just woke up. And then roll to your side and roll yourself over to come onto hands and knees. Now I know that not all of us are comfortable in sort of weight bearing on the hands. So again, you could just imagine it, or you could do this standing against a wall. So you just want to find your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and just rock a little bit backwards and forwards so you feel your weight shifting over your hands and back into your hips. And you can always spend more time sitting back on your legs where the arms are easy. And your spine is long. Now your spine goes from that tip of your tail all the way, let's say, into the roof of your head. It's not quite right, but for the purpose of this, it's a good image. And as you come forwards, like the weight stays as much as possible in your legs. It's like someone's pulling the back top of the roof of your head forward over your hands. And your hands, they don't weight bear. I mean, they do, but in your head, they don't. You're just keeping the space. You're keeping your arms there as distance keepers to keep your face far away and your chest far away from the ground. If you're doing this against a wall, same there. You're keeping the space, and you might do a heel raises to create this backwards and forwards. The floor is still supportive of you. You may not always feel that way, but can you get your head around that? That actually the floor is holding you up like a tray. You're on a tray being held up. Might help a little. Now you can stay with this, or if you're more on a, if you're quite fit and we're all very different, you could explore the same in a full sort of push-up or plank position. So you could tuck the toes under, drop back into the heels, just keeping your hands out as distance keepers. And again, feeling your strength and creating space for yourself. So again, you could push forwards and backwards, sit back whenever you like, whenever you had enough for a moment. So you're not wanting to push yourself. It's not about a challenge. It's about feeling your capability, your strength, your ability to create space for yourself. You can create all the space underneath you for you. And your arms as well as your legs are capable in this to
allow yourself to have your space. And you can again say that to yourself at the moment in these times can be really powerful to go, I've got my space. This is my space. And I've got space. How does that resonate in your body? It might say, that's not true. And maybe we need to do a bit more about that. But can you sense right now that you have a capability to create your space? And then come back to sitting for a moment and just allow yourself to feel the resonance of that, of everything that you've just done. And coming back to sitting where you started, you might notice certain differences. So take a moment to just sense into that. And again, how would you describe that if you had to put it into words for yourself? What is different? And it doesn't matter how weird it sounds or surreal it is. It's a sensation. Maybe a little different in the body in terms of spaciousness, different contact with the ground, different breath, difference in the shoulders. And then have another look around, just kind of seeing what the quality of your vision is like now, because that might have subtly changed as well. And as you do that and bring yourself back into the space and into your life, into your day, I just wonder if you can just look ahead at something either today or tomorrow that you look forward to. Maybe another little treat, maybe a mince pie or some wine, coffee. Maybe seeing somebody, watching your favorite program, going for a walk. Is there something that you go, oh yeah, I look forward to that? And if there isn't something, or if it's a struggle, maybe that's a sign that you should create a little bit of time for yourself, for something nice. And how are you going to go towards that from here? So that's my little video for you today. I think we've spent about just under a half an hour, which is perfect. And of course you can rewatch this. Again, you can share with anyone that you would like to treat to this half-hour little relaxation, movement session, grounding, regulation session. And hopefully you found it somewhat helpful. You can always let me know, give me some feedback. And I see some of you in the new year. I hope we all get there healthily and with lots of refueling ourselves and looking after ourselves. Hopefully you can do that over the holidays. And I wish you all the best for the new year. See you around. Bye.